Hello, everybody. This is Ron and Hope Unfiltered, but there's no Ron. It's just Hope. But I have some awesome guests here today. This is
Alexa.
Campbell.
Teresa.
Teresita. These are some gentlemen and ladies on our staff, and I just had a bright idea this week. I said, and Teresa, you and I have talked about this so many times, haven't we?
Yes.
That we should do a podcast about dating.
Yes.
And surviving dating in, 2024.
Very different.
Very, very different, because you and I are not in our 20s.
Oh, we're not?
Like these guys are. They're in their 20s.
Yes.
No, I'm 50, almost 56 years old. You're 78. I'm sorry. I'm just kidding.
82.
82. No,
I look
she's
good.
60. So, and it's different.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't have cell phones in our day.
Did not.
No.
You had to talk on the phone and that long cord.
That's right.
Couldn't have a private conversation.
Absolutely,
And
because
now
your mama
everything's
was
online.
listening in the other room.
Sure was.
Sure was, and let you know it, and you better not say anything about it.
Uh-huh.
And no internet, no swiping, none of that stuff. I mean, if you were going to meet somebody in dating, it better be in your hometown,
Yes.
right?
At school, through
At school,
friends,
right.
family, yes.
That was it.
That-
We
that
didn't
was
have a
it.
lot of options.
Nope.
I'm glad I got the golden goose, though. I didn't have a lot of options, but man, I hit the jackpot.
That's right.
So I wanted to talk, about today. I even see, my kids. Chellen's married. Chase is married. But Chaz, he's 20, how old is Chaz? 28 years old and dating. He's found his girl now, Ariana. But before he, met Ariana, the struggle. And even in being in California, Campbell, you all were in California
Yes,
for a
ma'am.
little bit,
Yes,
and
ma'am.
moving to a new place, not knowing anybody. That's just really difficult. Really, really difficult. So we're going to talk about it today. Nobody wants to be alone, right?
I don't think so, no.
You don't want to be alone, do you?
No.
No, and I think God puts that in all of us, that, we don't want to be alone. But let's not just talk about the struggle in dating. Let's talk about the struggle in Christian dating. That's even
Yeah.
harder. That's even harder
Yes.
because, you love God. You want to please Him. You want to serve Him. You want to honor Him. We know there are principles. There are things we do and we don't do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you have to bring that into your dating as well.
Yeah.
Y'all ever had any crazy dating stories? You ever had a psycho?
Not me.
No?
Not me, no.
You've had some good dating?
Yeah, I've only dated one person.
Yeah?
And it was for an extended period of time. And
Yeah.
I haven't had any dates outside of that.
Yeah.
So no crazy stories for me.
No crazy stories.
No.
What about you, Alexa?
I haven't.
Let's hear 'em.
Tell.
Where's the coffee? Where's the
can't
tea?
Where's the popcorn?
I know.
I do. I don't know if it's crazy because I haven't really dated a lot of people, but there was this one person out there. We broke up, and I would receive letters and random flowers, and he would drop off stuff.
Stalkerish.
Stalkerish, yes. Yeah.
You couldn't break up with him. It's those kind of people you can't break up with.
Exactly.
That's scary. But you're so beautiful. No wonder.
Thank you. And then I did date somebody else, and who, if you believe in this, that's fine, but believed in aliens and would always talk about it, and believed in a higher power that wasn't God, but he believed something was there. So just those type
Yeah,
of
just-
conversations, and as a Christian, you're like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I put myself in those situations too. So.
Yeah. What about you, Teresa? You dating crazy people?
Not crazy, just I think I found it interesting as a Christian. Values are different even as a Christian.
Yeah.
Right? And so people not understanding the hard lines of what you will and won't do, even though they're a Christian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was funny. This was like 2 years ago, maybe, and you had just got on a dating site.
Yes.
Yeah. And
Very
you were
forward.
like, Pastor Hope, these men are crazy.
Yes. Very forward. Haven't even met and can't talk about all the things. That
Yes, you
they-
can. It's real raw, relevant.
Real raw and
You
relevant.
said, you said they were asking you, would you have sex?
Sexual things.
Yes.
Very sexual, very
Never met.
overtly never met. Yes. So and said they were Christian, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that ended that.
Yeah.
No dates there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. What do you think the fascination is? I mean, y'all are, I'm sure, have y'all ever been on dating sites?
I haven't
No?
personally. No.
Teresa has. What
All
about
of
the
them.
swiping? Shut up, Teresa. She said all of them.
Oh, yeah.
What is the swiping thing? What is that? Like Tinder?
It's
I
Tinder.
think that's Tinder,
Yeah.
where you're
Yeah.
like swiping.
And you look at the people
Bumble.
if you like them and you.
Yeah.
Okay. Y'all ever done that?
No.
No?
Wow.
What? Teresa?
Well, it's like most people on those websites are on those websites for different reasons.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Do
That's
you
what I
think
see.
it's a hookup
Oh.
thing?
I think so.
If
Yeah?
100%.
Really?
You
yeah.
do?
Yeah.
So they meet for sex. So that's a kind of a known thing. See, me and Teresa's too old. We didn't know that.
No, I mean, you go through all the, like, just, I can't say the name of it, but certain ones have like a full on questionnaire, right? And so I would think if you're going to go through that length
Yeah.
to answer all
That
the
you were
questions
serious.
and find compatibility, you would be serious.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But maybe that's just the facade.
I'm sure there's good apples in there, but
Yeah.
it's ruined.
Yeah, my cousin
Wow.
did meet her husband on a dating
She
app.
did?
Yeah.
Really?
They're happily
Yeah.
married, Christian
Yeah.
couple.
And Chaz met Ariana
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
on a dating
can
site.
happen.
It can
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah.
But you know, what I was about to say is, before I got caught up on that, I can see why it would be hard to settle down, though, because you see so many options.
Yes.
That's true.
that
It's
is
like,
true.
wow, but maybe if there's somebody new comes
Better.
up today or somebody better comes up
Yeah.
next week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that is almost like trying to do lottery stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's like you're never
Yeah.
satisfied
Yeah.
and you never are content because you always think there's something better.
Yeah.
And
That's
you
a great
can't live your
point.
life in a
Yeah.
relationship always wondering if there's something better.
Well, outside of the dating apps, that's what social media does now.
Yes.
So it's a problem that persists even without the dating apps.
That's right.
Yeah.
It is just the internet phenomenon. It really is.
Yeah.
Hate that. So, would you say that most people are looking for the one? You ever thought about that? Like you want the one.
Yeah. I think I can talk for myself as Christians, you're always looking for the one because you want to build that connection and that family. And I think in the Christian community, you are looking for the one.
Yeah.
Outside of that, I think in our generation, it's a lot of hookup culture, or like you say, like a lot of people don't want to settle down.
Yeah.
So it's hard, especially like what we were talking about before the podcast. Like,
Right.
where do you meet another
Right.
Christian person outside of like church or other communities? And I think that's the
Yeah, or
difficult
your
part.
job.
Or
I've been over here, everybody who's listening, trying to hook these two up. I'm like, Campbell, you could take her out Saturday. They just met yesterday, y'all.
Yeah, yesterday.
Already got their children named. I got their children named. I think they'd do great together. She wants to move to South Carolina.
Arkansas, wasn't it?
Or was it? No, it was
No.
Kansas.
You can meet in the middle of
Kansas.
Kansas. She was in
Kansas.
California.
Right. So
Across the world.
Yeah. Anyway, I tried. We'll see where it goes. I don't know. So the one.
Yeah.
Teresa, I think you just found the one.
I did. Well, he found me.
Oh.
Yeah. I can't say that. No.
Let's talk
No,
about
but,
it.
But yeah, as a young person coming up in church,
Yeah.
right? I think we are taught that there is a one for you,
God
and you
created
wait for
somebody for
that
you.
specifically for you. I think as I've gotten older, because I did believe that, and I waited for that, right? But as I've gotten older, I've been divorced,
Right.
I've been widowed, right?
Right.
And so I think over time things change, and you begin to look for more the values, the qualities, the characteristics, the integrity, what makes that person, and that qualifies that person as the one for me, right?
Right.
Not just there's only one person in the world that is right for
Right. And if you miss it, you've missed the
Miss-
boat.
Yes.
Yeah. I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. But I think sometimes I do believe that there is one person that God
Okay.
has created
Yeah.
because we were pulled from, Eve was pulled from
Yeah.
Adam. And what Eve has, Adam is missing, and you come together, and that's the becoming one.
Yeah.
That's the beauty.
The missing
of-
rib.
Yes, it's the missing rib. It's the beauty of marriage.
Yeah.
But, you can be widowed.
Yes.
And that one person's gone,
Yeah.
for instance. I'm not saying he was,
Right.
but if that was, but now you're engaged and you're fixing to
Yes.
get married. I've never seen you happier, right?
Yes.
So
Very different.
it is
today.
very
Yeah.
different, and the things that Teresa had on her list.
Yes.
Yes,
I was very specific.
You were.
But I went through a season where, and I know you're going to ask us all these questions, but I went through a season after, being widowed and waiting and going through my mind and we talked about it like, yeah, I've done it.
Yeah.
Don't ever want to do it again. It didn't mean I didn't want someone
That's
in my
right.
life or a companion, right? But the marriage thing was really, it was something in my brain that I just wasn't sure about. And you challenged me to think about, well, why would you date or why would you want a companion, but you wouldn't want to get married,
Yeah.
right? But as I got to know Sandy and all the things like prior to getting to know him, so early in the year, this year, I've really felt the Lord challenge me. Like I went through, the being single and waiting and trying to, revamp my life and figure out what is my life, what gives my life meaning now. And it really wasn't another person. It was between me and the Lord and what I felt like the Lord had for my life at this season of my life. But I felt him putting his finger on write the vision and make it plain for your life.
Yeah.
And it just came out like I still had that desire for another person to have a relationship. And so I did. I wrote it all out and my list was very long. And I can say that I am in that exceedingly abundantly season of life with him that God has just blown my mind, that everything has checked off and more so than that I didn't even put on my list.
More
It's
than
crazy.
you can ask or think.
More than I can ask or think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But even in the exceedingly abundantly more than you can ask or think, there's going to be times of night gas. There's going to be times of
Campbell.
throwing up. There's going to be times of struggle.
Oh, yeah.
There's
The struggle is real.
There's even when you find the person,
Yeah.
it's not always perfect.
It's not perfect.
Right.
Yes.
And I think so many people, that's when they throw in the towel.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, I must not have found the right one.
one.
Yeah.
I must have chosen poorly.
Yes.
They get on my nerves or they've got a temper or they pout or whatever thing, because we all have our things, right? None of
Right.
us are perfect humans and we're all
Right.
going to get on somebody's nerves, especially if you live with them 24/7. You're going to get on each other's
Yeah.
nerves.
Yes.
And it's that great Christian foundation and Christian values that make you press through it,
Yeah.
that make you love hard through the
Yeah.
tough times.
Yeah.
And then you end up, being married. We've been married this year 35 years.
Yes.
Man, we've had so many ups and
Awesome.
downs.
Yeah.
So many ups and downs. But that's what's made it so freaking rich.
Yeah.
It's
You
made it so
did.
beautiful.
It's coming through the struggles and the challenges that is
Yes.
the reward, right? And
It's
don't
when you
give up.
look back over your life and you're like, oh my gosh, look what God did for us. Look what He brought us through. Look,
Yeah.
look at the struggle we had here, and look at the
Yeah.
time we wanted to give up there and we didn't. And it's made us such a beautiful testimony.
Yeah.
It really
So
has,
even
yeah.
when you find the right person, you're one,
Yeah.
it's not going to be perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but that's another difference in a Christian relationship, in a
Yes.
Christian marriage,
Yes.
versus the world's. Versus the world. So
Yeah.
what about looks? Let's talk about looks. Do looks really matter, Campbell?
I think they do.
Yeah.
I think it's honestly it's imperative that you're attracted to the person that you're going to be spending the rest of
I
your time
agree.
with.
Yeah.
Because comparison is the thief of joy already, but you need to be locked in. And
Yeah.
you need to have a strong foundation. I think it's part of that strong foundation is physical attractiveness.
I do too.
Yeah.
Because that's the first thing you see when you
Yeah.
meet anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember when I saw Ron, I got the bubble gut. When I was like, oh my God, he had this long mullet, this blonde mullet.
His mullet.
Yes, she said he had a mullet. Yes, I got pictures. I'll show you. He had this long mullet down to his shoulders, and it was curly, and it was flapping in the wind when he was running down the basketball court, and his cheeks were so rosy because he'd been running. And I thought I was going to melt. He was just so good looking. And so if I didn't have that initial, I'd have never given him the time of day
No, exactly.
to
Yeah.
even meet.
Yeah.
I hear people say all the time, looks are not important.
No, they are.
I think they are very,
Yeah.
very important.
Because eventually you're going to have to wake up to that person too.
Yeah.
Like see him.
Yeah,
or her
but you
every
know,
day.
looks don't last either.
That's true.
Looks do grab you,
Yes.
but you know, I mean, we get fat. We get cellulite. Right. Men
Guys get bellies.
Yeah, men get the man gut. The man gut.
Chest drops.
Yeah, chest drops down to here, you know, and then it goes kind of like women's chest. Oh, just everybody's chest drops eventually, right?
Yeah.
But then you have built so much over time. I mean, I don't think Ron has a man gut yet, but if he did, I mean, I still think he's beautiful.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
still think because I love him in so many other ways. But I agree that the looks do, you know, it's very important to be physically
Yeah.
attracted because even in that, you know, sex is a huge part of marriage. And if you're not physically attracted in that, you get the ick. Don't you get the ick? That's a new little term out right now called, you know, the ick or whatever it is. You ever been with anybody and you had the ick?
Yeah. Multiple times.
Yeah.
Like this one person gave me a lot of icks, but I can't remember like on top of my head what it was anymore. But I think once you get in a relationship, you know.
Oh God, I'm embarrassed. It just came out. I dated this boy. I didn't even plan on it, but I was thinking about the ick. And it was our first kiss. I was in high school, and he kissed me so gross that I didn't know the ick back then, but I had such the ick. I had to wipe my mouth. It was so slobbery going into my house. I was doing like this. My mom was like, "What is wrong with you?" I said, "He just put his whole mouth around my mouth. It was just so gross." I never went out with that boy again. So yeah, I know what the ick is. What about you, Campbell? You ever had an ick?
No.
Campbell, you were just the perfect specimen.
I'm not perfect. You know, I've just not been in those positions.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
He's been selective.
He's been
Yeah,
very selective.
very selective.
Yeah.
Very picky.
What about you,
I love
Teresa?
that.
You ever had the ick?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Can't talk about it. Just kidding. Just kidding. No, I think what you're saying is true. Like, you know, you think you like someone, you're attracted to them and all the things, and then they do something that you just, it's repulsive. And
Like
it's like,
chewing.
yeah, okay,
like
I'm done.
sloppy chewing.
Open
I hate
mouth
that.
chewing.
So
Chewing.
bad.
No
Smacking.
manners.
Yes. No manners. Ooh. Or dirty shoes.
Dirty shoes?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I like Ron's shoes clean.
okay.
I get the ick when I'm like, or a dirty car. What about a dirty? You ever dated somebody with a dirty
Ooh,
car?
Yeah. That's no bueno.
Yes, no bueno. No bueno. Okay. Let's see. What about this as a Christian? You don't want to sin, right? We don't want to sin. We don't want to cross lines. We don't want to cross boundaries. Okay, that's tough. That's tough, especially when you're 50s, 60s, been there, done that.
Yes.
You're dating,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
It's tough.
It is.
So what kind of boundaries do you put in place? What kind of boundaries? Think about what would you do to put a boundary in place to make sure that doesn't happen?
Yeah. For us, it was just a conversation up front and very honest and open about those things. And then you're careful where you go. If you are feeling, you know, a certain kind of way and you're feeling very amorous and you know, then
Very
you
happy.
avoid being by yourself. And you have to
That takes a
intentionalize
lot
it,
of
though.
self-control.
It does. I'm not saying it's always easy,
Right.
but it's achievable.
It is achievable. You know, Ron and I dated almost 3.5 years, and we never had sex before we got married. And 3.5 years is a long,
That's a long time.
Yeah.
Now, didn't say that, you know, we didn't slip up in other things, but we did not go all the way.
Yeah.
So, but that was very difficult because we were together every single day in college, in a
Yeah.
very small college. I mean, very small, 1,000 people, and saw each other sun up to sundown. We traveled
Yeah.
together all the time, and it is achievable.
Yeah. But I think one boundary I think you can set is maybe just date within the same religion as you.
Yeah,
Because I've dated outside and it's hard, like, for them not to understand
yeah,
your values and beliefs. And then
Right.
you're just more tempted to sin. And then in that Christian relationship, because I had a Christian relationship recently for the first time. We're not together anymore, but it was a lot easier
Yeah.
because we both knew the
same
intentions
boundary.
and the boundaries. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think past relationships, maybe I was just desperate and just like looking for that attention. So I went I went outside of my beliefs, and
Yeah.
then that's when sin started to happen.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
What about in groups? I mean, is that old school? Is that too old school to say, what did they call it back in the day? Courting? Where you only, dated in groups?
Oh,
Just dating with other people so that you're not alone.
So you're not
or-
alone?
Yeah.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
is the first time I
Yeah.
heard about it.
I think it's our generation thing.
It is
right?
our
But
generation.
I think too, sometimes I feel stronger in it, like, yeah, I'm good. And then, for Sandy, sometimes he's a little bit more forward, and we just kind of have to say, okay, I'm good right now, right? Or it might be the opposite. And so it's just having good communication about
Yeah.
it and being willing to, I'm not saying we don't kiss all over the place.
What does that mean, Teresa? No, they are just like little teenagers, and I am so tickled for
it's
both of
fun,
them. Yes.
But yeah, you can do it.
You
Have the
can do
strength
it.
and the faith and the determination
Yeah.
and the values.
Yeah.
It really comes down to that.
And
Yeah.
prayer will help a lot too.
Yeah.
For clarity.
Yeah.
And for strength.
And praying together. That was so special to me. I'd never had that until I met Ron. And we would always pray together at night.
Yeah.
We'd pray on the phone.
Yeah.
We'd do Bible study or do a devotion
Yeah,
together. And, it just made me feel so safe,
Yeah.
Yeah.
so comfortable that I have somebody who is leading me.
Yeah.
Campbell, what do you think about that? As a young man, are you confident in that, or do you feel like Christian young men maybe are insecure in that, or
And leading in prayer?
yeah,
My take on it, it's very important
Yeah.
to be able to do that. But I don't think you can lead somebody if you're not able to lead yourself.
yeah,
I think that's the problem. I think that's the problem right
Yeah.
now is a lot of people don't even try to lead themselves.
Yeah.
They get distracted with other things or, just don't have the right ambitions or the right goals set in place. And so they don't ever make it a priority to lead themselves, and then they can't lead anybody else. So, yeah, to me, it's important.
Yeah.
I do my best to focus on my spirituality every day. I pray every day,
Yeah.
several times a day, meditate once a day at least.
Yeah.
And so I don't like to just talk to the Lord. I like to hear him. So
I love
I like
that.
to be led by
So
the Lord.
good.
And so if he's leading me, I can lead somebody else.
That's so
Yeah.
good.
Because honestly, I don't want to take the responsibility for leading somebody. That's
know.
why I let God lead me while I'm leading them. So we're both being led by the same person.
Campbell, I want you to know you're a jewel, but you're rare. You're a rare breed, but I'm so thankful that there are godly guys out there. This gives me hope today. Honestly, it really does give me hope, because I've heard stories. Doing what we do, leading people, being a pastor, being around so many people, we see so many hurting young people who say, I'm desperate. I can't find anybody
Yeah.
who loves the Lord. No guys, they're all jerks. Are you even
Yeah.
on Christian
Standards.
dating sites,
Yeah.
who want to know if you're willing to have sex?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think too, for like our generation, speaking for our generation, a lot of like men that I meet, they say they grew up Christian, but they don't follow or that
don't
relationship
practice
with
it.
Christ, or they don't practice it. So
Yeah.
when you get in that relationship and like you're actively seeking Him, then it's still unbalanced. Somebody can be Christian, but they don't follow Christ.
Yeah.
So that's where I find the difficulty a lot.
So what are you looking for, Alexa, in a man? What are you looking for?
Obviously,
You got a list? Do you have a list?
I don't have a
You
list.
don't?
no.
Teresa had a list.
You have to share
So
that
do you
list
have a
with me.
list?
Not
Specifically,
not
written out.
Just
Okay.
mental
So
check.
if you were going to
Yeah.
make a list, Alexa, what would your list start with? This is important. What's your number one?
My number one. My brain is stuck on height.
No, it wouldn't be that he loves the Lord. That wouldn't be your number one,
No,
Alexa.
that is my number one. but
Okay.
It's like height.
Because you're
6 foot.
tall.
I'm tall.
I'm tall
I'm
too. That was
5'7",
important to
yeah.
me.
Yes.
Yes, I get it.
When you're walking, you don't want to like.
Yeah, you want to be able to wear your cute
Yes,
shoes,
my
right?
heels,
Yeah,
yeah.
I get it.
Number one, relationship with the Christ.
Yes, with Jesus. Yes, and then height.
Height, looks, a good relationship with his family.
I love
That's
that.
major
That
for
is so.
me.
That is
Yeah.
crucial.
That is.
And how they treat their mama too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because then that's how
It's
they're going
very
to treat
telling.
you.
It is telling. All right, Campbell, what's your list?
And my number one's going to be relationship with the Lord as well.
Okay.
Because that covers a lot of morals.
It does.
Right underneath it. But after that, they got to be a great communicator. Because I feel like that's one of my areas of weakness. And so it's something I'm actively working towards, but I feel like I should have strengths complementing my
It's
weaknesses. Yeah. That, so the communication, positive attitude. That's important to me.
That is so,
So good.
key too.
Yeah.
Don't have
I
to be
can't
their
stand a
cheerleader
Debbie
all the
Downer.
time.
Yeah.
Can you? Or a negative Nelly?
No.
Oh, I thought you were going to say negative Nancy.
Yeah, negative Nancy, whatever. Negativity, nothing can just drain my whole being than to be around somebody who's negative.
Yeah.
Can't stand it. So I
Amen.
will be praying for y'all. Yes. So Teresa just got engaged. God's come through for Teresa.
Yes, he
Did
has.
you ever reach a place, Teresa, where you just got discouraged and didn't think it would happen?
Oh, of course. I think I went through different phases of loneliness is real. I think being single, you're working, you're trying to do life and all the responsibilities that you have. And when you're used to being married and then you're not, and doing it all by yourself, right? You get discouraged that, life is hard and you're trying to make it happen. But I went through seasons where I was lonely, not desperate, but I was lonely.
Yeah.
And not wanting to be ashamed of that and be real about it and give it voice and say this is real and embrace it and work through it and allow God to help me walk through
Yeah.
that season. But yeah, discouraged as far as especially going through all the different dating sites and trying that. I really did try
Yeah.
them because I wasn't finding anyone that met the kind of criteria that
Well,
I
you
had.
you were a different place in your life too, and you work nonstop. So
Yeah.
where else are you going to go
Yes.
to meet? That was kind of
Yeah.
your thought pattern.
And I was careful about church because I
Yeah.
work at church and attend church and didn't want to mix that with, I wanted to meet a Christian, but
Yeah.
I was careful about not wanting to date different people in church,
Right.
in my church, because it was also where I worked. But I did. I went through different seasons of discouragement or feeling like it's never going to happen. Maybe my standards are too high. Can I compromise here or there? And in my heart, I just couldn't do it. And so I did reach a point with the Lord that I just said, if I can't have all of this, then I don't want it. I'll just figure out my life and be purposeful and intentional
Yeah.
about my life. Yeah. And either you bring it, and I'll never forget you telling me, like, for you, if it's going to happen, it's going to be a God thing.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
truly was. I had quit the dating sites.
Yeah.
I just was like, God, I know you can bring him.
And he did.
And he did.
And he did, and we're so happy for you.
Thank you.
We're so happy. So, life rhythms. We're almost near the end. Life rhythms, compatibility, and seasons.
Yeah.
These are things that you need to work through when you're dating before you say I do. Life rhythms. Do you do the... Ron and I had to figure out life rhythms. If we liked the same thing,
Yes.
the type of families we came from, like you were talking about dating somebody from another religion, that's not the same life rhythm. Are you going to raise your kids to go to the Catholic church or to the Protestant church? That kind of thing. Compatibility, the looks. Do you like the beach or the mountains? I hate the beach. I never want to go to the beach. Well, I like the beach. That's not going to work.
Yes.
And then seasons. You need to date long enough that you see the person you're dating through different seasons. How do they do well under stress?
Yeah.
How do they do when family problems? How do they do when they're sick? How are they? Well, I can tell you right now, Ron Carpenter's going to go to the ER. Every single time he gets sick, I just wait for it. I'm like, I'm not even going to sleep. If he's throwing up, I'm not going to bed because we're going to have to go to the ER because he's going to need fluids. So it is what it is. They turn into complete children, all men, when they get
They
sick.
do, yeah.
She said they do, yeah.
My dad.
They do. She said my dad does. So seasons. to make sure that you know them well enough. That's why I had to ask Sandy the other day at the table when we went to lunch all these things about you. Sandy, has Teresa told you this, this, and this?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I spilled the beans on you, didn't I?
Yes, you did. She called me out.
I did. I called her out. I just wanted to make sure he knew before he said yes.
And the 10 shades of red. But it was good, and we laughed.
That's right.
Yeah.
Y'all, I know that there's no perfect marriage out there. There's no perfect marriage. There's no perfect person. That's why there's no perfect marriage. There's no perfect relationship, because we're all broken. But I do believe that God has the perfect person for you, even in their imperfections. And if you are, really struggling to believe God in your singleness, that, there is someone for you. You may say, well, I've made so many bad choices. Listen, God can redeem the time. He can restore the years. And listen, if your heart is for Him, if your heart is to please Him and honor Him and glorify Him, He's going to bring that right person. He's got somebody unique and special created just for you. So don't give up. Just put God first, and then He's going to just bless the rest of your life. Y'all, thank you for being on today. I think this will really encourage people. So until next time, this is Ron and Hope Unfiltered, real, raw, relevant.